Kill Rock Radio. My name is Rocky. Once again, back up in this motherfucker. I want to go ahead and talk about this video. This video was sent to me from like at least 8 motherfuckers. Let me set the scene for you. It's a Korn show. A Korn / System of a Down show. It's in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And when you think of nu metal, what's interesting about nu metal fans, and I'm probably in that group, is that we kind of never grew up. Like, we're very happy that Jinkos and wide leg jeans and shit are coming back into style, because we still have all that shit in the closet. I got like 4 pairs of pants that I'm getting ready to dust off, and I'm going to be the height of fashion up in this motherfucker. I saw somebody at the mall the other day doing the thing where you got the low-rise Jinkos and the thong poking up out of it.
I get in that. You know what I'm saying?
Anyways, point is, something about nu metal always spoke to young men, angry young men.
You got it pretty tough. Your life is pretty hard.
I tell you what.
And when you think of like a nu metal fan, you think of a guy who, you know, watches too much porn. You finally get a chick. You can only get half a boner because you jacked off 4 times already that day.
You're not interested in sex.
The thing about porno is you're always upping the ante. Like, you start watching one thing and you start going down a rabbit hole, and before you know, you come to a point where you're like, whoa, like, I'm watching some fucked up stuff, but now you can't go back. Like, I remember there was a time where just seeing like a lady's rump in pants,
Jesus H. Christ! I think you've got a heart off!
like, just that used to be enough to get me totally hooked up. But all these years, the internet, all that, it's like you can't get a boner unless somebody draws blood and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Calm down, girl.
And that might be what's happening to this guy. He might have come to the point that the only thing that can get him off is some sort of weird public humiliation / adrenaline rush, whatever the fuck. Overstimulated, miserable. That's what I think of when I think of nu metal fans.
Oh yeah? Well, fuck you!
So maybe I'm even saying these things about myself. I don't know. You know, they say you point a finger, 3 curly fingers are pointing right back at you or something. It seems to be like the middle of the day, but people start to notice this guy furiously jacking off. As I said, it's pretty much daytime, so like, he's openly stroking his rod, you know what I'm saying?
Put that away!
He's got liquid on him, which if you read the backstory to it, somebody had thrown a drink at him, so he had been jacking off for a long time.
I mean, everything's worth doing. Worth doing right.
And that didn't stop him. He kept jacking off even after the drink was thrown on him. So even once he knew that people saw him, he continued furiously jacking off.
I'm not sure I'm gonna get away with it this time.
And then at that point, that's where this video kicks in. Let's see the tale that the video tells. This dude, the masturbator, he seems to have some sort of like a do-rag type thing on. System of a Down fan, interestingly enough. Why then is he jacking off during Korn? That's really interesting. Wouldn't you wait and polish your knob once System of a Down comes out? Okay, so as you can see, he is furiously jacking off. He's moving as fast as he can. Just as they're about to come up over the top, that's where it cuts. Now, as you can see, the group around him is restless. They have reacted. This guy is dead set on finishing his hand job. Here comes our hero. This dude, he still has his pointy hair. He jumps up and he slaps the fuck out of this guy, slaps the do-rag off his fucking head, actually makes him stop jacking off. I assume while he's standing there looking around, he probably still has his dick out.
My penis only has a tip.
So, okay, now we jump forward. Security and the police have him. The cop is gripping his jack-off hand. Freeze it. That's the face, I would say, anyone who has ever interrupted someone who's about to orgasm and stopped them, you're familiar with this face. This is the livid look of someone who wanted to come but could not. It makes me wonder, was the plan to like nut on the crowd below? And like, I've also seen this video posted a lot of places, and in the comments, people will refer to like, well, you know, he must have mental health issues and shit like that. First off, no shit. Anyone who can pull their dick out in front of all these people in the middle of the day and start furiously jacking off, obviously you have a mental problem. However, let's watch out before we start making excuses for this fucking guy. Like, I know a lot of times these psychiatrists, when they're ruling if someone is fit to stand trial or if someone is, fit to be able to live on their own and shit like that, that's what they do. They run you through those sort of situations. Like, hey, if you wanted to go to a concert, what would you do? This dude went online. He purchased a ticket for himself. He was by himself. He got himself from wherever the fuck he was to the show. He got through security. He found his seat. He pulled his dick out and started jacking off.
Respect the cock.
Certainly something is wrong with him, but it's not an excuse. The guy had enough wherewithal to know that it's not okay to start jacking off. Would it have been nighttime by the time System of a Down hit the stage? If you'd have waited to then, you probably could have gotten away with it. You could have nutted all over the place. Everybody would have been none the wiser. When it's first showing him jacking off here in the video, it pans to the side, and there are some very young-looking women who are like kind of terrified looking. It makes me wonder, why did it take so long for somebody to come and kick this guy in the fucking head? From what I heard, spiky-haired hero, he got thrown out and arrested and all that shit too, because, I mean, he did run up and sucker punch the guy. But listen, once you've just pulled your dick out, you kind of have to expect that you're going to be pummeled.
I was ready to sue Blackshoot, put it in the camel clutch, and fuck your stinky shitty ass with a beer bottle.
Like, any time I've ever taken my wiener out in public, it's been an intense situation. You know what I'm saying? And you're concerned. Because you know, like, god damn, if somebody sees this, this is gonna be a problem. This guy just openly, I mean, there are clearly very young people all around him. It's really fucked up. But to some of these people, that might be the first dick they've ever seen. And this is the way you see it, some weird System of a Down fan furiously jacking off in the middle of the day. You know, it's funny when you see it from behind. Like, I'm somebody who, you know, if I'm sitting at a show, I might start like doing the drums on my lap and shit. What if, like, that has to be the crazy thing about when you see a guy jacking off. You have to verify. You have to go look and see his genitalia to say, okay, he is indeed wacticing and something needs to happen. Obviously from there, if you see this in public, I know you're going to be filled with rage and you're going to want to punch the guy, stomp the penis, do all that stuff.
You're going to die, you dainty little fuck.
If we're civilized, then really you would just go call security and have them handle it. As you see, they ended up having to anyway. They tackle the guy. They had to touch his slimy dick hand. Let them do that. Don't you get caught up in any beef. The hero of the story, who ran up and smacked the guy in the fucking head, he doesn't get to see System of a Down either. What's the name of that disease? Like, I know that's a thing. Like, guys who like people to see them do that to themselves. What is that called? Is it just exhibitionism or whatever? And then he didn't even get to come. At the end of the day, he gets tackled down. Makes me wonder, when they first tackled him, Was his wiener still out? Did the policeman have to put his wiener away? Did he have to button up his pants? Was that part of the kink? I don't know. I mean, I've known a lot of people who have done nasty shit at concerts. Everybody, if you go to enough concerts, especially when you're younger, everybody has that scenario where, like, you know, you get funky in a goddamn porta potty.
To me, you seem like a dude who knows what's up.
I wonder what his end game was. I mean, obviously the end game was to ejaculate, but like considering he started jacking it right in the middle of the day, did he think he was going to be able to finish up, put his piece away, and continue to enjoy the show?
You dumb bastard.
He had to know that when he pulled his Johnson out, at that point, you're on a ticking clock. It's like you're robbing a bank. Like, fucking 2 minutes, motherfucker. Because it's only going to be so long before somebody runs up and punches you in the fucking head. Once you got the soda on the back, that should have sort of, you know, set your alarm off and said, okay, it's time to finish up. And once again, you see his pace, he's jacking it really fast. So it's like, is this even your thing? Like, that's what makes me wonder. Like, if it's something that really turns you on, wouldn't you kind of like finish up really quickly? But instead, here he is. He's just pumping and pumping and pumping. He's pulling taffy. Nothing's happening. Maybe this is the wrong kink for you. Maybe this is the wrong scene. He's gonna have time to think about it. Odds are he's gonna be banned from that building. I'm sure Korn found out about it, so you should be embarrassed. Jonathan Davis knows you were jacking off to him, and you went through all that, and you didn't even get to bust a nut. It ruins the whole story. If you're over there telling it, the story is only a decent story if you nut. He did not, therefore incomplete. F-. No plan. It's, even if you're successful, it's not even cool. I don't feel I should need to say it. Hey guys, don't jack off at shows. If you're with a lady and you want to do a little something at the show, that happens. Try to be fucking decent about it. Don't be doing this shit in front of kids and stuff. That's one thing. This guy is maybe even part of his kink that he's jacking off in front of young people. I don't know. It could be so many things. I have so many questions that will never be answered because who the fuck would want to talk to this guy? Anyways, moving on. So, I'm going to get into this Yungblud story. So Yungblud is absolutely one of the fastest rising rock stars out there today. And he's really been the guy that has gotten the most out of Black Sabbath's final show when he came out and had the balls to do the Black Sabbath classic Changes. Everyone was going on and on about it. He was then invited to the VMAs to recreate that performance along with a medley of other Ozzy songs. And at the end, Aerosmith came out. Well, Tyler and Perry, the only two members of Aerosmith that fucking matter, so they came out, so it might as well have been Aerosmith. And they did a duet with Yungblud for Mama, I'm Coming Home. And everybody's been raving about the performance. They cut to Ariana Grande. It looked like she was shitting her pants. She was so into it. And now Yungblud, everybody is looking at him and saying, this dude is the future. Of course, when you have someone start to take off like that, there are going to be people to shit on him. And here we have a good example of that in the form of the Darkness brothers, Justin and Dan, the Hawkins brothers, who are essentially one-hit wonders from the early 2000s. They have a really great song called, I believe in a thing called Love. Just another bit of my heart. Now, the Hawkins brothers have come out and said, A, the performance was dog shit.
They smell like a pile of bullshit!
B, Yungblud is a poser. Now, as I started to look into that, that's apparently a very common diss that has been lobbed at Yungblud, so I wanted to kind of look at what the Hawkins brothers are saying and see if there's any gravity to it. Now, honestly, the term poser, if you're a young person, you probably don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Somebody who's trying to look a certain way. It doesn't necessarily have to do with rock music. It could be anything. Anyone who's presenting themselves as something that they are not is a poser. I'm trying to think of like who's like a relevant modern day poser for me to use as reference. MGK. MGK is a fucking poser. MGK tried to be a rapper. He failed. He got the best producers. He went in and he made a pop punk album that was fully manufactured, and he was the face of it, and it did really well. In fact, it was a really dark statement on the current state of rock and roll music that he was able to do that so easily. And you could tell he didn't give a fuck about it. As soon as he had any success whatsoever, he wanted to go back to rap. Now he's doing this god-awful pop shit. So, I mean, I saw the performance. I thought it was a really solid performance. Yungblud is one of these guys where, like, he doesn't have a band per se. He's always backed by essentially hired people. And I think that's a problem a lot of people have with him, that he's almost set up like the way a pop star would be set up, you know? Britney Spears is not part of a band, but you hire a band to back her. That's how Yungblud is presented. But, you know, that may just be the way of the world now. So I don't know. Look, let's get into it. So after the performance, Dan Hawkins, he posted the clip of Ariana Grande shitting her pants, and he says, and I quote, "Another nail in the coffin of rock and roll. Cynical, nauseating, and more importantly, shit." So obviously you make a statement like that. It caused a big hubbub, if you will. And Justin Hawkins, the lead singer of The Darkness, felt the need to come out and maybe explain his brother's point. Justin Hawkins has a very popular YouTube channel. He's got a lot of interesting videos, definitely worth checking out. So Justin broke this shit down from the time Yungblud got there all the way till the end of the performance. So first, he started shitting on Yungblud on the red carpet, which was a happening in and of itself. People were going apeshit about Yungblud on the red carpet. He had these fucking leather pants that barely covered his mons, dude. You could see pubes sticking out the top. It was like that Black Crowes record, Amorica. You ever seen the cover of that where the pubes are all coming out the top? That's what his shit looked like. He was showing muff and hips, and he had fucking makeup on and shit, and he had like a jacket on. It was he looked fucking cool, first off. If you look like that, why are you going to show up all covered up? Is rock and roll, is a big part of it not being that dude? Would Robert Plant not show up with pubes poking out and his fucking mons pubis showing? Think of how many great rock musicians of the past would do shit like that. Justin Hawkins pointed out, like, oh, this is a rip-off of a Jim Morrison pose.
Right, so what he's done there is what I call the Jim Morrison. You simply cross one leg over the other, you go into the Christ pose.
But that's iconic shit. Why would you not rip that off? In rock music, throughout the history, there's so much referencing the old shit and paying homage to the fucking OGs. What type of fucking loser wouldn't take that opportunity? Yungblud took it, and he made the biggest impact. You look around, all these fucking celebrities, they're boring as fuck. Everyone is faceless. It's the same bullshit over and over again. I am begging anyone to stand out, and that's what Yungblud did here. So I mean, I'm down with it. Justin Hawkins went on to say he was even shitting on the way that Yungblud was speaking.
You American girls are mental, man. You're like loud. It's like crazy. Like a different
So I know what
world.
he's doing. I think he's doing Ozzy. I think the tribute to Ozzy actually extends to what he was doing on the red carpet. One difference though, Ozzy was fucking hilarious. He really was funny.
Do you have to be Ozzy to do an Ozzy tribute? I mean, maybe the kid was fucked up and he was just like, you know, I don't know. There could be a million reasons for that. So then from there, Justin Hawkins, he tries to truly explain it.
I mean, I suppose one of the things that irks like musicians of a certain age is to sort of watch Ozzy invent heavy metal with Black Sabbath, do his solo stuff with Randy Rhoads and all this amazing decades of brilliant music, and then sort of see Ozzy turn into like the household name Ozzy, you know, the sort of post-MTV television series Ozzy. And then you kind of think, well, what the fuck does that, all those decades of being brilliant have to do with that? And then what the fuck does all those decades of inventing metal and having this incredible legacy got to do with Yungblud? This posturing is Jim Morrison meets the bloke from Stone Temple Pilots meets everybody else who's ever owned a pair of leather trousers and gone like that. You know, it's really 101. It's School of Rock stuff, you know. It's just the latest in a long line of, I'm sorry to say it, posers.
This is fucking haterism. I can speak to this because I am accused of being a hater pretty regularly. And there is a really fine line between critique and just being a hater. When you're being a hater, you're just looking for things to shit on. Like, oh, he's trying to talk like Ozzy, but he's not funny like Ozzy. Now he's saying, well, it's the Ozzy tribute. You see everything Ozzy did. You know, what does that have to do with Yungblud? What it has to do with it is the MTV Video Music Awards has always been a tastemaker type event. That's why it's the only part of MTV that still survives to this day. The music videos are gone. The TV shows are gone. All that shit is gone, but the VMAs remain. And why the fuck would you have old school guys coming out to rep heavy metal when you could bring out this fucking Adonis who's, you know, he's all greased up and make-upped up. He looks like $1 million fucking bucks. If there was ever anyone that you needed to physically represent rock music to young people, you couldn't find a much better specimen than Yungblud. By all accounts, he's done great covers of Ozzy's work. His voice, not to say it's like Ozzy, his voice is kind of high. Those are hard songs to sing. Did you see when that fucking Jelly Roll went to try to sing Mama, I'm Coming Home? He sounded like a fucking idiot. He made a fool of himself. And this kid was able to do it. I don't know what would have pleased Justin Hawkins. I would like to know, like, what do you think would have been a better representation? Because the reality is, if you bring out the fucking Black Sabbath guys, all these kids are gonna sit on their fucking hands and fall asleep. They don't give a fuck to watch grandpas rock out. They don't know who these dudes are, and they don't give a fuck. However, if you put Yungblud up there, now look at that fucking performance. They keep panning to the crowd, and it's nothing but chicks, big smiles, and this is something that rock fans don't get. That you need the poppy rock bands. The poppy rock bands bring the fans in, and then from there, they find out about everything else. Like for me, when I was a kid, it was grunge, and you get into like, you know, Nirvana. It's like, well, fuck, you know, you like Nirvana. check out Pearl Jam, check out Soundgarden, check out Alice in Chains and then you check those motherfuckers out. Oh, dude, before you know it, a whole universe of music has been opened up to you simply because you went and checked out the popular new shit. Who else could have done it, is what I would ask. I mean, I wouldn't think Justin Hawkins would think he would be the answer. I don't want to shit on the Darkness, but those guys are one-hit wonders. When they came out, like, nobody even knew if their shit was serious or not. They couldn't tell if those guys liked rock or they were trying to make fun of it. So if anything, those guys should know because they were accused of being posers.
What irks musicians of a certain age is the fact that Yungblud seems to position himself. I mean, it feels cynical to some people, I think. I'm not saying that I feel this way, but it feels like he's cynically positioned himself as the natural heir to the Aussie legacy, having had nothing to do with the really, really important stuff here. So I think people don't understand how he's ended up there.
Another thing that people were bringing up as a thing about Yungblud being a poser is that now in the wake of Ozzy's death, Yungblud has made a point to let everybody know about this necklace that Ozzy gave him and the things that Ozzy told him. And Ozzy was always my hero. I believe he said Ozzy was his North Star and he always related to Ozzy. And we were friends at the end of his life and all that shit. And then, of course, the fact that he's now out here doing these Ozzy covers. If you listen to him talk about it, it does sound like he's sort of over the top. Like, there's no way him and Ozzy were like good ass friends, but he paints it like they were. I'm sure he did give him a necklace and shit like that, because from all accounts, Ozzy was a really good salt of the earth dude. And he was aware that people loved him and looked up to him and all that shit. To me, this is like the main reason that rock music and heavy metal music is like absent when it comes to popular music. Unlike rap and pop and all these other genres, we cling to the OGs. And whenever there's something new, we're like, oh, you're not that person. I would also ask Justin Hawkins, like, how is this kid ever supposed to get over? If he wants to be a rock musician, what is he supposed to do? If not look to the OGs, and let's say he's ripping them off. I remember when the grunge bands hit, everybody would shit on them because they weren't good enough rock stars. Ugh, fucking flannel. Why don't you get some leather pants, motherfucker? Now here's a kid, leather pants. It's like, oh, you're not real. You're not, whatever. A lot of people have brought up that Yungblud got his start on the Disney Channel. How could he be a real rocker if he was on a Disney show when he was a kid? Listen, everybody has a different path. Alanis Morissette was on You Can't Do That on Television, which was like a little kid skit show on Nickelodeon. And then from there, she released a pop album. Does that mean that all the shit she did later in life was void because of where she got her start? I don't understand what's expected of Yungblud. So I went to the internet and I started looking for why do people feel this way? On some level, he is a poser in the sense that you could tell by listening to his music, it hasn't clicked for him yet. He hasn't found his true voice yet. But you hear evolution in his music. It's not something really I like at this point, but I've heard some collaborations where he's done well. These covers are great. So you definitely see, he's got the voice, he's got the swag, he's got the look. He's just missing this one thing. And once he finds that, he's going to be a huge star. And I mean, that's the thing that I found the most online is that people they didn't feel anything from his music. It seems kind of manufactured. And, maybe that is the case. If you did come up in a show type background, it might be hard to really find your voice because you're getting pulled in all these directions and shit like that. But I do have some comments here from the fans to maybe speak on some of the things that bother people about him. I have my homie Pilolov, who says, what I know of it is that people think he queerbaits, fakes his lower class accent, and put sad stuff in his songs to pander to people, even though he had a decent upbringing. His song Hated kind of touches on it. I don't think just because you didn't grow up poor or whatever means you can't be an artist. That's ridiculous. So as far as the queer baiting, Yungblud claims to be pansexual, which means he's down to clown no matter what. He'll juggle some nuts, he'll munch a box, he'll do anything. Regardless of gender, if he likes you, Yungblud will get down with you.
Woo! You got a day Wednesday, baby!
I don't know if people maybe don't believe that. Are there dudes out there who can say that Yungblud like blew them or they blew him or, they did, whatever?
Look at my hard dick, isn't it right?
Faking a lower class accent. What is that? I'm American. I don't know what the fuck that means. Just because you grew up in an affluent house, or if you were on TV when you were a kid or whatever, it doesn't mean you can't be depressed. Next, my homie Want to Put My Face in It says, here's my opinion. His lyrics / music kind of sucks. Lacks depth, lacks real emotion. He is obviously selling his image of a bad boy to attract a female audience. I'm tired of seeing his big Mick Jagger mouth. I guess he's just too obviously surface level for me to enjoy. He's not making anything I haven't heard before or making me go, wow, what an amazing voice. Like back in my day, by the time you heard a band, they had already been like so refined that you were hearing pretty much like a finished product version of that band. Whereas now you hear these bands like from their first demos all the way up through into studio quality shit, because that's just the nature of the internet and how people come up and shit like that. And so with Yungblud, like, we're seeing his output as like a really young guy, and you say, well, it's uncreative and it's derivative and all that shit. Of course it is. I when I first started painting and illustrating and shit like that, of course I would rip off other people's shit that I liked. It's because I hadn't found my style yet. I hadn't figured out how to do shit on my own. So all I could do was look to other people's stuff. That's how you grow. That's how you learn. That's how you find yourself. I feel Yungblud, he's just not there yet. The talent is there. The potential is there. He's just got to put it together. And when you do that, hopefully that shit will rock. Anyways, moving on. Okay, now is the part of the show where we go over your comments. And we mainly have comments about the Yungblud thing. Our video about the guy slapping it, I mean, that's already been buried by the YouTube morals Gestapo. But whatever. Thank you so much to everyone who has commented. You can comment on any of our videos, get up in our DMs, and we will get back to you whenever we can. We'll try to reply to shit. We'll attempt to do something. So let's go ahead and get to your comments. My homie Darth Sadik says, dissing a young and talented artist is one of the symptoms of being old and butthurt as fuck. Referring to Justin Hawkins and his brother. That's the danger that you're going to come across when you start giving people the old back in my day and why don't they just put the old guys on stage? You end up coming off as a gatekeeper. One of the things that Ozzy was doing, and something he's always done, Ozzy has always had a reputation for bringing up young bands, having them open for him, giving him spots. I mean, the Ozfest in general is one of the greatest events in the history of heavy metal in terms of giving people an opportunity, taking bands that are in the underground and giving them a shot on a big stage to get a lot of fans. There's a lot of great bands here in the last 20, 30, 40 years, going back to Motley Crue, who say they would have never gotten their shot if not for Ozzy. And you roll that ball forward all the way up to, Slipknot. In this case, Yungblud. And one thing you could see about Ozzy, he understood the concept that, listen, dude, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to be able to do this forever. And how is this music going to go forward if there's nobody to carry it forward? There must be another generation, lest your music dies right then and there. And if you want to be selfish enough to say, well, you know what? I liked this and no one else can fucking have it. We just want this version of it. To me, once again, selfish. Give something to the kids, you rotten motherfucker. Don't just make them go to your shows. You go to their fucking shows, ass. Next, my homie Chef Bethany says Yungblud is the rock star the world deserves and needs. Why even give that has-been hater credibility by thinking his opinion carries any more weight than my mailman or the person sitting at a light in traffic for way too long after it turns green? Trying to profit from the clickbait vid title? No reason to put out the negativity like this. It's a question, and it's a question that is often asked. That's why I had made the point earlier, for the Hawkins brothers to bring this up, it's kind of a weird irony because they themselves have been accused of being posers. They are somebody that has had to face this very same accusation. And yet, you go forward, you end up an older man, and now here you are ready to point your finger at some other young up-and-comer. It's like the circle of life, but it's like the circle of shittiness, the circle of jealousy. There was very little there. There was a second in Justin's video where he was talking about, maybe even concern that what Yungblud was doing vocally was not being produced in a healthy way, which of course can shred your throat. That's a real critique. Or commenting, a lot of people have commented that his music, it doesn't really connect emotionally. Sometimes it almost feels like you went to ChatGPT and said, write me an early 2000s alternative rock hit, and you might have gotten something that sounds a lot like Yungblud. Are we positive Yungblud is a real human being? As I said, has anyone met this fucking guy and can verify he's more than pixels? That he's flesh, cock, and bone? Next, my homie Ever Dreamer says, dude, Yungblud has earned his fame. He has 10 plus million streams a month on Spotify. Darkness has just 2. Been touring, recording, collabing, hard out since 15. His tours are sold out globally. He had over 8 billion accumulated streams, 3 #1 albums, platinum ×4, before he sang Changes for his mate Ozzy. Sharon and Oz asked him to sing Changes, and the Osbournes and Nuno, referring to Nuno Betancourt, formerly of Extreme. Is he still in Extreme? I don't know. Great guitar player, though. Chose him to sing for Oz at the VMAs. He grew up in a rock family. He worked in his family's rock guitar shop and had to tune 200 guitars every Saturday, plus fix and build them. He's a young guy who knows his craft. That's why so many legends love and support him. He's the real deal. He's just younger. Hawkins is just trying to get notoriety marketing. Hawkins whines again. He gets attention by belittling other musicians. It's so low. Dom, on the other hand, never ever belittles others, just lifts them up. Dom is Yungblud's real name, as you can figure out from the context clues there. Is that true about the music shop and all that? That's really interesting. I understand why older people who see Yungblud think he's a poser. Because listen, if we're being real, he's very over the top. Several people in the comments referred to him being like a theater kid or something like that. It reminds me very much of that. But that being said, if that's him, then he should do that shit. Back in the day, all this fucking singles and demos and all this early releasing shit that most young musicians do, that wouldn't exist. It wasn't until we already knew Soundgarden as the band that released Bad Motorfinger, because people got so pumped about that, they said, oh, look at their indie records. And that's when you go back and you hear them in their raw form And even if certain songs suck, you give them the pass because you see what they became. Whereas that's not how it is now. Now it's a constant build. You start off with somebody posting shit they made in their room. And then from there, hey, I added some guys to my band. Hey, we went to a recording studio. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And it just happens year by year, brick by brick. And it's different. Maybe that's why a lot of the older people don't get it. It's a different path that you walk nowadays. There's a lot of bands that they have 5, 6 fucking albums out by the time you even know who they are. Bands like Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, all those bands of the grunge era, it was their debut studio albums that were gigantic hits. By the 3rd, 4th album, you're already burnt the fuck out. Nowadays, you're 5, 6 albums in and you're still like a young up-and-comer. And that's kind of the path that Yungblud has walked here. And he's still a work in progress. I don't know what to tell you, but I get why people are a little annoyed by him. He's a bit much. And we're going to finish with my homie Scott Tidman, who says, yes, he is a poser, but isn't Justin Hawkins a poser as well, like most frontmen? I think most lead singers are posers to a certain degree. You can be a poser as well as being authentic. Ozzy himself gave Yungblud his blessings. Maybe the Darkness guys didn't get an invite to the Ozzy tribute stuff. They should have. They are a British heavy band, and there wouldn't be any heavy metal bands without Sabbath. There's a decent point. I mean, obviously, you look back through the history of rock music, many times the frontman has been kind of over the top. You know, look at David Lee Roth, look at Freddie Mercury, and you could go on and on if you really think about it. So, you know, maybe Yungblud is just the latest in that sort of ilk. I really do think on some level, if you're Justin Hawkins, can you not help but have a little bit of a, like, why him? Like, what's special about this guy? Is there an element of jealousy? I think as an artist, on some level, doesn't there always have to be? I mean, because the art business is very competitive, but it happens very often that you look at others who get certain opportunities and you say, hey, why him? I'm better than him. I think that's just human nature. So I could see a little bit of that. It's very common because times are changing. You don't relate to the way shit is. You start just shitting on it randomly for no fucking reason. I think that's probably an element of it. So there's old cootiness as well as professional jealousy maybe. And on top of it, you know, there's a new hot chick in town. The older hot chicks are like, what a bitch. That's how it goes. So anyways, thank you guys so much for your messages. Before we go, I do want to mention our merch. Go to killrockradio.co.co and you can get your hands on a Kill Rock Radio koozie with our little sick ass emblem on there. Or you could buy a sticker to put any fucking where. Put it on your lunchbox, put it on your car, put it on the inside of your ass cheek. I do not care. As long as you buy the fucking thing. Every dollar will go back into the show and support the show. To those of you who have bought them, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. To those of you who have not, get that shit done. It's very low cost. It's tariff free. It helps the show out. You could just, like in YouTube, you could just tip me or some shit. But I'm not a fan of tipping just to fucking tip. Pay a few bucks. I'll throw you some merch. And actually, if you go to killrockradio.co, the koozies are marked down because we used to have killrockradio.com. And so that's what's on the backside of the koozies. Now it's killrockradio.co. And if you want, I will take a black Sharpie and I will Sharpie out the M myself. So it will say killrockradio.co. But what I'm saying is, I'm going to slash the fucking price of those. I'm just announcing that right now. I'm going to slash the motherfucking price. Go buy some koozies. Support the show. Thank you guys so much. Anyways, on that note, I will let you guys go. We will keep this conversation going next time. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you crazy motherfuckers later. Peace.
To keep up with the latest and catch up on past interviews and clips, search Kill Rock Radio on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to Kill Rock Radio wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm like, oh my God, just listen to it already. Wherever you listen to podcasts.